Call this meeting to order, and Mr. Garvin, would you give us the invocation, please?
Father in heaven, creator of all things, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for your love and your grace and your mercy. We ask now for your divine guidance as we do the business for the Cherokees tonight. We pray for our country, pray for our federal government, our state government. Pray especially for our Cherokee people, the elders, those bereaved. We just ask you to put your arms around them, give them comfort. Father, I pray for each visitor here tonight. We pray for each council person. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Roll call. Bill Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harvey Buzzard.
Here.
Julia Coates. Here. Bradley Cobb.
Aye.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishenhawk. Here. Meredith Fraley. Here. Chanel Fulbright. Here. John Garvin.
Honey.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Anna Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Sarah Cowan Watt.
Honey.
We do have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Next order of business is approval of the March 15th regular session minutes.
I move to be approved.
Second. Moved in second. Any discussion on approval of the minutes as written? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Madam
Mr.
Speaker.
Baker.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to first make a special presentation to Mrs. Hastings Shea, immediately following the approval if it's approved, and adding item 11, new business, recognizing former Principal Chief Wilma Mankeller as a national treasure.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on amending the agenda? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Baker, did you want to go first?
Yes, if I could.
I understand Mrs. Shea needs to leave.
She does. Last month, it was an honor and a privilege to bring forth this resolution, a small token of this council's appreciation, which it was sponsored by all and passed unanimously. And the family wasn't here, but Loretta is today, so I'm going to be redundant and read it one more time before I present it. It's resolution number 21-10. The Council of the Cherokee Nation, a resolution recognizing former Deputy Principal Chief Hastings Shea as a national treasure of the Cherokee Nation. Whereas the Cherokee Nation, since time immemorial, has exercised the sovereign rights of self-governance in behalf of the Cherokee people. The Cherokee Nation is a federally recognized Indian nation with historic and continual government-to-government relationship with the United States of America. Whereas Hastings Shea, a lifelong resident of the Lost City, Oklahoma, passed from this life on February 10, 2010. Whereas Hastings Shea served as Deputy Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation from 1999 to 2003. Whereas Hastings was a full-blood, bilingual Cherokee citizen, the son of Tom and Leanna Stopp Shea, husband of Loretta Shea, the father of 3 sons, and a descendant of Sequoia, inventor of the Cherokee syllabary. Whereas Hastings was foremost a gentleman, a traditionalist, fluent in the Cherokee language, and could speak Cherokee and taught in Cherokee and taught with the great depth of the Cherokee knowledge and wisdom to share. Whereas Hastings Shea had a strong commitment to children and to the teaching of the Cherokee language, culture, and history, and will ever remain an inspiration to all who knew him. Be it resolved by the Cherokee Nation that the nation hereby recognizes former Deputy Chief Hastings Shea as a national treasure of the Cherokee Nation for his cultural contributions, encouragement, and statesmanship to the Cherokee people. and it's signed by Speaker Fraley, attested by Don Garvin, signed by the Principal Chief, and attested by Melanie Knight, Secretary of State. Loretta, if you'd come up, please. Grateful nation, and we all love him. But anyway, we want you to hang that and know that each and every one of us will never forget you and your beloved husband. Thank you.
Loretta, would you like to say a few words? Would you like to say a few words?
I would just like to say I appreciate everyone here. I accept this proudly for him. He was a great man. And it shows by the many friends that have come forward to say, I knew him, he inspired me, he gave me motivation, but most of all, we knew traditions and culture, and I'll carry on that, but that's why I had to leave. I picked up his classes, and he has like 28, 30 students, so I've got to go back and teach them. And thank you very much.
Teacher now, huh?
Appreciate you,
Mr. Baker, for bringing that forward. Next order of business is State of the Nation. Principal Chief Chad Smith.
Good evening. It's the State of the Nation, April 12, 2010, and as Loretta left, she let us know tonight's also Larry's, her son's birthday. They're celebrating. Tonight we pay homage to Cherokee family members and our friends who have left this life before us. Mike Daniels' mother, she passed this week. Does anybody know her name? Margaret. Sequoia Rogers from Jay. Of course, Wilma Mankiller, but as before I speak of her, is there anybody else the council would like to recognize? I believe there's Judy Haddix Vaughn. She passed yesterday. She's a sister of Andrea Leaf, who's the HR director at our facility in Roland. Yes?
In Downing, Mays County, Locust Grove.
Okay. Let's have a moment of silence at this time. Widow. Wilma Mankiller Many people cared for her and admired her. And for the many who could not attend her memorial service, the service honoring her life will be posted on WilmaMankiller.com, Wilma capital, Mankiller capital, one word, or on our Cherokee.org websites that would be posted sometime next week. We don't have all the time that we could for each one of us to express what Wilma and her contributions meant to us and to the Cherokee Nation. But we did grant to the family the Medal of Patriotism. And as Redbird Smith described patriotism 100 years ago, it's somebody who gives up their all for their government. In this instance, our government that Wilma gave her all for is the Cherokee Nation. And it's interesting when we think about her and her life and what she did, there's two sides of that coin. Those who gave up their all for their government and those who believe the government should give to them. Those who want to take from the government instead of contribute back. And put it in perspective, perhaps one of the great legacies she will leave is a concrete example of true patriotism. Patriotism that we can learn from, patriotism that we can teach our children, our grandchildren. So when each of us leave this life, the woodpile is a little bit higher rather than shorter. It's always a pleasure for Joe Grayson and I to honor our Cherokee warriors. And I must note that Wilma Mankiller was the first to receive the National Medal of Patriotism, not being a veteran. But tonight we would like to honor Roland Q. Humphrey. He's here, looking very well. He was born in Muskogee in 1936. He was a chaplain in the U.S. Army from 1975 to 1995. His military assignments took him to many places, including San Francisco, South Korea, New Jersey, Fort Sill, and Germany. Upon retirement from the United States Army in 1995, he moved to Tahlequah. Since then, he's been a pastor of the New Hope Indian United Methodist Church, as well as a pastor here in Tahlequah, Braggs, and the associate pastor of St. Paul Methodist Church in Muskogee. He was also a part-time chaplain at the Veterans Administration Medical Center of Muskogee for 4 years. He and his wife, Verna Ann of Poto, have 2 children, Catherine and Colin, and both of the children graduate from Haskell Indian College and Kansas University. Roland now wants to volunteer and focus his ministry on 80 and 90-year-old veterans. So, Roland, if you could come down and let us acknowledge you and thank you for your service. Would you care to make please share a word with us? Let's turn this way.
Well, it's an honor to receive this. I feel very humbled and I feel very proud to be a part of the Cherokee Nation. Thank you.
In program and service updates, the 2010 census is important to our citizens because they identify themselves and the survey will affect federal, state, and county services. The United States Constitution requires a national census every 10 years. This count of individuals helps the government determine where federal money goes from infrastructure like roads, health care, and senior citizen centers to services like education and child care. If you've not done so, I encourage you to complete your survey. Pay close attention to the questions number 5 and 9, which identify your household as citizens of the Cherokee Nation. The census has a traveling bus to encourage people's participation. It will be here at the main complex parking lot tomorrow. Our health group will be posting the 15th anniversary celebration of the W.P. Mankiller Health Center in Stillwell. It will take place this Thursday, April 15th from 2 to 4. The public is invited. Last Wednesday, we officially opened our Cherokee National Supreme Court Museum across from our courthouse on the square in downtown Tahlequah. It is now Oklahoma's oldest public building. The Supreme Court was built originally in 1844. It's such a monument for us, and we all need monuments to remind us of the past and to create the challenge for the future. And if you can think back to that time, just 5 years after the infamous Trail of Tears, in which we were still grieving from those 4,000 souls that perished, we brought ourselves up by addressing the two great passions of the Cherokee people, self-government and education. The first building we built was a Supreme Court building to acknowledge that we chose our future. We determined our destiny. We resolved our disputes. We built our government and our people. And it's a sacred site. There can be no other symbol greater of what we've paid for our sovereignty and a challenge to continue exercising that sovereignty. And I certainly want to express our appreciation to C&E and the Cultural Tourism Group for the masterful job they made on restoring the building. And so it'll become that symbol for not the next 5 years or 10 years, but the next 20 and 40 and 50 years, that we can take our children by and say, this is the symbol of the once great Cherokee Nation, and now it is the symbol of the great Cherokee Nation that we are here to build. This week of Saturday, April 17th, at the place where they play up at Sequoia, the new gym, from 4 to 7, we'll host a Veterans Honor Dinner. The veterans will enjoy the spaghetti dinner and enjoy games like dominoes and checkers and telling old stories. It gives us that opportunity to express and share with them their great contribution and sacrifice for us. The Cherokee Nation is also hosting 2 annual picnics in California for our at-large citizens on April 24th. We'll be at the Hart Memorial Park in Bakersfield. On April 25th, we'll be at the Northern California Rush Ranch near Sacramento. And as I announced last council meeting, I'd been selected to be one of the celebrity runners at the Tulsa Run on October 30th. Since that time, I've learned what's involved. Madam Speaker, it means to run 9.6 miles. I've made the commitment and I cannot retreat. So I enlisted all of our group leaders. So I sent around a piece of paper and said that I strongly encourage, as I looked over their shoulder, that they too participate in this effort to sign up for the 1 mile fun run, the 5K, or the 15K. And I posed to them, this is a great example to lead, a great opportunity to lead by example. Because if we look at our health epidemics, they come back to 2 things, exercise and choice of healthy eating. And unless we do something dramatic, I mean dramatic, diabetes, heart disease will be the conqueror of the Cherokee people, not external issues or forces. And so it gives us the opportunity as elected leaders of the Cherokee Nation to lead by example. So I'll send to each of the council an email, a challenge, and see if you will participate in the 1 mile run or the 5K or the 15K, so we can lead by example and try to stem this health epidemic. And in fact, Bobby Gale, my wife, has accepted the challenge to do the 5K, so she'll be in training also. And at last, we remembered Wilma Mankiller this evening and these last few days. It's been a heavy burden for us all. But sometimes we have to look back and see the good things that occur. Callie Ketcher, who's here, certainly, if we remember, lost her loved one several months ago. And one of the initiatives of Callie's husband and the motorcycle groups that they were associated was to advance motorcycle safety in Oklahoma, to pass a bill to add a fee to motorcycle tags for general motorcycle safety awareness. And it's passed the Oklahoma legislature this week and it waits the governor's signature. And to honor him, that community renamed that bill Gunner's Bill. And so we want to acknowledge the great work of the legislature. And Callie, would you come and say a word, please?
I appreciate Chief Smith acknowledging this, and I, in fact, just got a call that the governor signed the bill an hour ago. And I would like to also acknowledge Representative Chuck Hoskins Sr., who has been very supportive and helped us get this bill through the House, and I really appreciate it. It was my husband's dream to have a motorcycle safety course available in every town in Oklahoma, and we're going to be able to start building that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That concludes my State of the Nation.
Did good. Next order of business, action of unfinished business. We have one item. This legislation covering construction and improvement of access to Cherokee-owned homes was tabled last month, and Mr. Hoskin, did you want to bring that forward?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would ask that we table that for one more month. I would note that there's a revised legislation that will be on our Executive Finance Committee this month, and then hopefully in May we can reach a disposition of both pieces. So with that, I'd move to table.
Moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next order of business are committee reports. First is Housing Authority and Mr. Sutherland. Evening, David.
I'll be doing that 1 mile fun walk.
Yeah.
Good to be here this evening. This month's Housing Authority Board meeting will be this Friday at noon. Be in the Allen Hogner Conference Room. The board's going to consider approving a change in the meeting times to noon on the third Tuesday of the month. Right now it's 5:30 on the third Tuesday of the month. They hope to, this revision will do away with some of the conflicts they've been having to meet some of the quorum issues. Our Housing Services Group, we've reached a 100% obligation deadline for the stimulus funds. I have to thank my staff who put in many hours putting bid packets together, and have to give thanks to the environmental staff who have to provide clearance on every project before we ever get started. And there were approximately 225 projects. I got to thank purchasing staff who cranked out a bunch of bids and got contracts executed timely. It's been a big effort. It's harder to spend $12 million than you think, but it takes a team effort to do that, and we got that done. Next month's committee meeting, I'll provide everyone with a list of everything we funded through the stimulus through my department. Our occupancy in our low rental apartments has exceeded 90%. Our tenants are fairly nomad. They come and go a lot. We've got a lot of move-in, move-outs. So we strive for 90% occupancy every day. We've usually more between 85 and 88. I think part of that is just with our economic times right now, there's more people that are eligible for to live in those apartments, which is not always a good thing, but I think that's probably part of the deal. And it takes a lot of hard work by staff to keep caught up with those move-ins and move-outs and keeping apartments ready, and they do a good job, and I think it's reflected through our increase. That's my report for this evening. Be happy to answer any questions.
It's not, thank you. Mr. Shirt is unable to be here this evening, so reporting on the next two items, Cherokee Nation Entertainment, Cherokee Nation Business, Don LeBass. Good evening, Mr. LeBass.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Callie told me that was the finance section back in the corner,
Yeah,
so that's why I'm sitting back there. I believe we're reporting on January results. January net income was up about 30% from December. January was negatively impacted by some weather across all the properties. Not as bad as December, bigger storm in December, but January was still impacted. Catoosa still impacted by the ongoing construction around the facility with the highway. That's going to be ongoing for another year or so. I believe not this summer, but the next, until that ends. Another important item of note, the Salisaw facility continues to see increased revenue as a result of the closing of Blue Ribbon Downs. So we are seeing that business come over to our facility, which is good news. January, trending upwards. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder for February, but we had a really good month in February, one of the most profitable in C&E's history. So seasonally, February is always a good month for the casinos. Construction-wise, the West Siloam Springs Hotel continues on target. I believe they're looking for a Memorial Day opening. The Hard Rock Event Center still on target, looking at September. And the Ramona Casino is, we're looking at a late May, early June opening with the Ramona Casino. With regard to C&B, nothing significant financially to report, no new activity. I think the major activity with regard to C&B is the continued consolidation of the boards. So that's the focus right now with the parent company. I think that concludes my report. So are there any questions I can answer?
Comments from Mr. LeBass? You did good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Oh, Ms. Karen Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Congratulations as a Cherokee citizen on your recent promotion to CFO, correct?
That's correct. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cherokee Nation Industries, Mr. Collins.
Good evening. It's good to be home. This last quarter has been a whole lot of activity traveling, but January profits $178,000. Year to date, we're still tracking over $500,000 in profits. Employment for C&I, we're still at 506. Native American percentage 84%. Some of the recent things that have been going on within C&I, telecommunications has experienced a large spike of growth. We've been seeing 30 to 40% growth in various product lines. We've had record shipments for 3 weeks over the last month, exceeding over 500 shipments per week. So today, the management, we did a cookout for the employees, rewarding them for their hard work and extra efforts to get the shipments out. Lockheed Martin, I received an email a couple of days ago that they are continuing to put us in the Star Alliance program, which is preferred supplier, and we're seeing a lot of new capturing of business through Lockheed. And then wire harnesses. It's kind of, even though it's not January, we'll have more detail in future reports. Our March shipments broke records. We exceeded over $3 million in revenue in March alone for wire harnesses. Meredith, you know what that takes to get out the door. It's a huge amount of wire products. Let's see here, make sure. I'll be traveling to Florida to receive an award from Lockheed on April 28th. It's the small business award for Lockheed for the multiple launch rocket systems, and it's a supplier quality award, and so that would be a great acknowledgement for CNI. The consolidation of boards is in progress, as Don had mentioned. Our CNI management's working with the CNB and CNE staff on synergies of strengths, areas for improvements. Currently, there's not a board meeting scheduled, but we'll advise if a CNI board meeting is necessary prior to the consolidated meeting. So that concludes my report for this evening. If you have any questions.
Any questions? Mr. Collins? No, thank you. Under old business, we have a resolution that was tabled last month of Mr. William Grass. And Mr. Baker, you going to take that one?
Yes. This is a resolution appointing Bill Grass as a member of the Board of Directors of the Cherokee Medical Services, LLC, for a term that expires September 30th, 2012. I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Yes, Mr. Corey Jordan.
I'll be unable to support his nomination for this position because there's just too many questions right now of how the CNI board, and he is a member of the old CNI board, is handling the Bentley project at Bigsby. I think now we're upwards of almost a $2 million loss. And from looking over the minutes of their board meetings, I have failed to see any of the board members ask any questions about this loss. And I just don't see how they could have all sat there and not been more informed about what the construction arm of CNI was doing. So I'll be unable to support this individual tonight.
Ms. Calm-Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's not that I don't hear the concerns, but I think that this particular resolution is a support for a subsidiary of CNI, and it doesn't involve the primary seat that this individual holds. So as long as they're in the primary seat, we need to empower these divisions of CNI to do their business, which requires a full operating board. So I think those concerns should be heard, but they're not to this resolution. This resolution needs to move forward so that we can continue to conduct business until that seat has been, the actual seat's been reevaluated, especially considering our recent act that put all board members onto the greater company. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any other comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Three of it, Mr. Hoskin, Ms. Gloria Jordan, and Mr. Baker. Was there anyone else I missed? Okay, motion carries. Under new business, out of Education and Culture Committee, Ms. Coates has a resolution authorizing donation of surplus exercise equipment from Sequoia to Bellefonte.
Yes, and I think that Councilor Fulbright and Councilor Thornton wanted to be added as sponsors to this as well, and I would move to approve.
Second the motion.
Second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And several out of Resource Committee. The first is the resolution authorizing a business lease in Kay County. Mr. Baker.
Yes. This resolution authorizes leasing of 1 acre of land on our Shalaka land in Kay County for a business lease for a 5-year term or less, and it's only used about 4 weeks each month for a fireworks stand. I make a motion that we approve it.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 3 and 4 were approved unanimously in committee, so if there be no objection, I'd ask Mr. Crittenden if you'd just present those in toto.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the placement of land in trust near the Morgan Drain property, and this piece and also item 4 joins trust land that we already have. Item 3 is for 81.5 acres. Item 4 is for 80 acres. and it's called the Garrett 80 acres. Both pieces are in Adair County, and with that, I'd move for approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving these in toto signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 5 is the resolution authorizing release of trust land in Rogers County. Ms. Count Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is for the lease of what you will typically see around July 4th as a firecracker stand off of I-44. I make a motion to approve.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item 6 and 7 were unanimously approved in committee. Mr. Buzzard, would you take those two in toto, please?
Yes, I will. The purpose of this resolution is the authorization of fee to trust acquisition application on this property, or these properties located in Delaware County. One is 120 acres known as the Thomas property. The other is 157 acres known as the Jordan property. I make a motion for the approval of this resolution.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And out of Rules Committee, there is a resolution confirming the renomination of John Scher to the editorial board. Ms. Count Watts or Mr. Barber?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. John Scher has done an excellent job for the Cherokee Phoenix editorial board, and I'm honored this evening for Councilman Garvin and I to support the renomination of Mr. John Scher to the Cherokee Phoenix editorial board. So move for approval.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, out of Executive and Finance Committee, item 9 is an amendment to the donations and contributions legislating repealing certain portions of the emergency assistance community support projects. And Mr. Hoskins.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this legislation amends, as you note, the existing donations and contributions legislation and direct your attention to Section 5G. Whereas before there was a time limitation on the equitable distribution of donations and contribution, this amended legislation strikes that time limitation. The time limitation had been March 31st. This strikes that so that the equitable distribution is all the entire fiscal year. I move for its approval with one maybe cosmetic modification, that is to title paragraph 5G as equitable distribution, just to keep it consistent with how the rest of the act is drafted. So with that, I'd move for its approval.
Equitable distribution, and where did you?
Section 5G, just include that as the title for that particular paragraph.
Okay, you move for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Madam Speaker, just to clarify, if it's possible to ask Councilman Hoskin that is this divided between 15 or divided between 17, if you'll remind me.
Well, it says council districts, so far as I can tell, we have
So it would be between 10 or 9?
between 9 is how I read it.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions?
Another clarification.
Yes.
Mr. Hoskin, I realize 9 districts is one interpretation, but in the last election, the District 1 had a seat A and a seat B, so you're not saying divided 15 ways.
Well, what I guess, Madam Speaker, to answer the Council's question, my intent here is to be consistent with how we just did the first round of donations and contributions, except remove that limitation. If we approach to this Councilman Baker suggests, which is 15 the division of 15 among the donations contributions, then that would carry forward. If, as Councilwoman Karen Watts has asked, if it was 9, then that's how we do it. I'm not changing anything in terms of how we've divided it this past few months, just that we don't stop at March 31st. So I know that wasn't completely responsive to your question, Councilman Baker, but that's my sense of the intent.
Any other questions? Okay, this is an amendment to roll call. Yes, as you approve, as he stated.
Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghawk, Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garden,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Hannah Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Chris Soap,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Tara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes.
Bill John Baker,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
No.
Harley Buzzard,
Yes.
Julia Coates.
Yes.
We have 15 yes, 1 no.
15 yes and 1 no. The motion carries. Item 10 is an amendment authorizing modification 6 to the 2010 budget. Mr. Jack Baker.
Yes. This budget mod increases our budget by over $5 million to approximately $606 million. It includes almost $4 million in grants, which includes $3.9 million from the Department of Health and Human Services, including contracted drug treatment of $1.9 million, STAR funds of $1.7 million. And other items includes $1 million for the Nowata Food Distribution Building and $240,000 for suicide prevention program. I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
By acclamation.
By acclamation.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11 is a resolution recognizing Wilma Pearl Mankiller as a national treasure of the Cherokee Nation. Mr. Crittenden, I believe you brought that forward. Would you like to continue?
Yes, I would, Madam Speaker. Thank you. And bear with me as I read this. I'll try to be quick. This resolution is recognizing former Principal Chief Wilma Pearl Mankiller as a national treasure of the Cherokee Nation. Whereas the Cherokee Nation, since time immemorial, has exercised the sovereign rights of self-government in behalf of the Cherokee people. Whereas the Cherokee Nation is a federally recognized Indian nation with a historic and continual government-to-government relationship with the United States of America. Whereas Wilma P. Mankiller, a native of Mankiller Flats, Adair County, Oklahoma, passed from this life on April the 6th, 2010. Whereas Wilma P. Mankiller served as Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation from 1985 through 1995. Whereas Wilma P. Mankiller was the first female elected to lead a major Native American tribe. Whereas Wilma P. Mankiller served her people with great distinction and worked tirelessly to improve the lives of Cherokee citizens. Whereas under Wilma P. Mankiller's decisive leadership, the Cherokee Nation reclaimed important rights to self-govern, reestablished its criminal and civil jurisdiction, and made key innovations in health and community development. Whereas Wilma P. Mankiller was an internationally known advocate for the rights of all Native peoples and was a champion for the rights of women around the world. Whereas during her 10-year tenure as Principal Chief, Wilma P. Mankiller met with Presidents Reagan, Bush, and Clinton to present critical tribal issues and help facilitate the establishment of an Office of Indian Justice within the United States Department of Justice. Whereas Wilma P. Mankiller received numerous awards and honors, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President William J. Clinton. Whereas Wilma P. Mankiller was instrumental in strengthening the Cherokee Nation and was greatly responsible for making the Cherokee Nation government an example of excellence for all Native American tribes. Be it resolved by the Cherokee Nation that the Cherokee Nation hereby recognizes former Principal Chief Wilma Pearl Mankiller as a national treasure of the Cherokee Nation for her cultural contribution, leadership, and statesmanship to the Cherokee people. That's authored by Todd Hembry, and the sponsors include all 17 on the council. And with that, I'd move for approval.
Okay.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next order of business. Next order of business are announcements. Do we have any? Yes, for Count Watts.
Madam Speaker, I believe you have a birthday Sunday. And
Don't tell anybody.
happy birthday.
Thank you. Mr. Baker?
Yes, I would like to invite everyone to a special service at Oaks Mission this Saturday, the 17th, starting at 10 a.m. at the church. And then there will be a special dedication of historical marker recognizing the earlier burials at the New Spring Place Mission Cemetery at 11 o'clock, and lunch follows. And everyone's invited.
Thank you. The other Mr. Baker.
Tyne and I would like to invite each and every one to a hog frying community meeting on Tuesday, April 20th. The good time should be had by all, and should be door prizes, and we got some good cooks, and hope to see you there.
Are you and Tina cooking?
No.
Well, I might come then.
Madam Speaker?
Yes, Ms. Calhoun.
Joint council Friday at the Hard Rock Catoosa and 10 a.m. in the Sequoia room.
Yes, thank you. Everyone's invited. In fact, some of the Eastern Band Cherokee are here now. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn if there are no more announcements. Oh, excuse me, I have an announcement, and I want to recognize Mr. Jackie Bob Martin. Wave. Green.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign.